This is 2 weeks investigation.
So now you are trying to tell the private
Michael, you
investigator
shut
you know
the
more
up.
than him now,
You
right?
shut the up.
Skylar.
Yes.
I'm going out. Gotta go sit down. I'll see y'all later. Okay. I ain't doing this no more.
I think Angela is bringing a lot of problem to Michael. And with what I'm seeing, Angela is very selfish because I think she likes doing whatever she wants to do. I think really it has to do with the age difference because Angela's older than Michael. She thinks she can just impose law on him.
See where I am now.
Welcome back. The reality television show 90 Day Fiancé has...
The reality TV show 90 Day Fiancé has become a sensation with its dramatic portrayal of cross-cultural relationships. Among the most controversial and intriguing couples to emerge from the series are Michael and Angela. While their on-screen drama has been a focal point for fans and critics alike, a lesser-known yet significant aspect of their story involves a major financial dispute. Michael, a native of Nigeria, joined the show to be with his American fiancée, Angela. During his time on the program, he voiced dissatisfaction with his earnings, claiming he was underpaid compared to other cast members, including Angela. His grievances, however, were seemingly ignored by the show's producers, fueling his frustration and resentment. Despite Michael's concerns, 90 Day Fiancé continued to thrive, largely due to the dramatic and often contentious interactions between Michael and Angela. This dynamic contributed to the show's high ratings, but it did little to alleviate Michael's feelings of exploitation. His dissatisfaction with his compensation eventually led to a legal dispute, with Michael alleging that the show's producers had violated labor laws and unfairly exploited his participation. After months of negotiations and potential legal action, Michael reportedly reached a financial settlement. Although the details of the settlement were not publicly disclosed, sources suggested that it was substantial enough to significantly improve Michael's financial situation. Throughout this ordeal, Angela's behavior toward Michael became a topic of intense scrutiny. Some viewers accused her of being manipulative and controlling, speculating that she might have influenced Michael's decision to accept the settlement. There were also rumors that Angela may have pressured Michael to stay silent about the dispute, potentially to protect her own image and financial interests. Michael kept his grievances largely to himself for a long time, fearing that speaking out might jeopardize his role on the show and, consequently, his chances of building a life with Angela in the United States. He continued to participate, albeit reluctantly, accepting his modest pay in hopes that his situation would improve. The strain of being in a toxic relationship, coupled with the financial exploitation, weighed heavily on him. Nevertheless, he persevered, hoping that things would eventually get better behind the scenes. Michael's frustration grew over time. He confided in a few close friends and family members in Nigeria, expressing his dissatisfaction with the situation. They urged him to stand up for himself and demand fair treatment, but Michael hesitated, knowing that confronting Angela could further complicate their relationship and his future. Torn between asserting his rights and fearing the fallout, he remained in a difficult position. The turning point came after a particularly intense argument with Angela, during which she belittled him for questioning their financial arrangement. Angela reportedly told Michael that he should be grateful for what he had, dismissing him with comments that he, as a Nigerian, should accept whatever was offered without complaint. This humiliating incident galvanized Michael to take action. Determined to secure the compensation he felt he deserved, he sought legal advice and began gathering evidence of his contributions to the show, including data showing spikes in viewership during episodes featuring his interactions with Angela. He also documented the pay disparities between himself, Angela, and other cast members, building a strong case for unfair treatment. Michael's legal team approached the show's producers with their evidence, demanding fair compensation. Initially, the producers were dismissive, assuming Michael wouldn't risk his role on the show by pursuing the matter further. However, as legal pressure mounted and the threat of negative publicity grew, the producers began to take his demands seriously. Angela, accustomed to controlling their relationship, was reportedly outraged upon learning of Michael's legal actions. She had always seen herself as the dominant partner, making decisions and setting the terms. The idea that Michael was challenging her and the show was both shocking and infuriating to her. In an attempt to manipulate him into dropping the case, Angela employed emotional and psychological tactics that had previously been effective. This time, however, Michael was resolute. Having reached his breaking point, he was no longer willing to be intimidated into submission. As the legal battle between Michael and Angela dragged on, the tension between them reached new heights. Their already strained relationship became even more contentious, with Angela accusing Michael of betrayal and greed. She struggled to understand why he was making such a fuss over money, feeling that he should have been grateful just to be on the show. For Michael, however, the issue extended far beyond financial compensation. It was a matter of respect and fairness. He had dedicated years to the show, endured public humiliation, and tolerated Angela's mistreatment, all while being significantly underpaid. He was no longer willing to accept being undervalued. After months of relentless negotiations, Michael's persistence finally paid off. The producers, recognizing the legitimacy of his claims and eager to avoid a potential scandal, agreed to a substantial settlement. Michael was compensated with a sum that not only addressed past injustices but also set him up for a more secure future. The amount was reportedly sufficient to enable him to make significant improvements in his life, both in Nigeria and potentially in the United States, should he choose to continue his relationship with Angela. The victory was bittersweet for Michael. On one hand, he had achieved the recognition and compensation he deserved. On the other hand, his relationship with Angela was more fractured than ever. Angela's attempts to belittle and control him had backfired, leaving her angry and resentful. She saw Michael's newfound financial independence as a threat to her authority, and their already fragile relationship began to unravel further. Despite the personal cost, Michael felt a profound sense of relief and vindication. He had stood up for himself, refused to be exploited any longer, and emerged victorious. The financial settlement provided him with the confidence to plan for his future, whether that involved continuing his relationship with Angela or finally breaking free from the toxic dynamic that had dominated their lives. In the wake of the settlement, Michael began exploring new opportunities with his newfound wealth. He considered investing in businesses back in Nigeria, supporting his family, and potentially using his platform to advocate for others who had faced similar unfair treatment. The experience had transformed him, making him more aware of his own value and less willing to accept disrespect. Meanwhile, Angela struggled to adapt to the shift in their relationship. No longer able to control Michael through financial means, she found herself increasingly isolated and insecure. The power dynamics that had once defined their relationship were now disrupted, leaving her uncertain about how to proceed. Her attempts to reassert control only pushed Michael further away, as he was no longer willing to tolerate her behavior. This situation marked a turning point in both of their lives. Empowered by his victory, Michael began to see himself in a new light. He was no longer just Angela's Nigerian boyfriend but a man who had fought for his rights and prevailed. This newfound confidence opened up new possibilities for him, both personally and professionally. Angela, on the other hand, had to confront the reality that her usual tactics of control and manipulation were no longer effective. With their relationship hanging by a thread, she faced the choice of either changing her ways or risking losing Michael for good. Ultimately, Michael's fight for fair compensation was about more than just money. It was about asserting his worth, standing up for himself, and refusing to be treated as less than he deserved. The experience empowered him to take control of his life, regardless of what that meant for his future with Angela. The outcome was uncertain, but one thing was clear: Michael was no longer the passive partner in their relationship, and the balance of power had shifted irrevocably.